Everybody, welcome back to another edition of Prime Sports World. And on today's episode of the Prime, we're going to be bringing you our week number 2 fantasy football rankings. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast if you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point Huffman. Right there, my co-host for this particular show, Mr. Izzy Rivera. Welcome to the show, my friend. Seems like you're doing cooking right now.
Yes, sir, I am. I feel like I'm in Hell's Kitchen right now. I'm plating just before this show, if you can hear me, and getting my 10-year-old a plate, and I'm trying to beat the clock to make the best show of the week, which is Fantasy Football Weekly.
Yeah, we are. If you have any lineup questions or trade questions, please put those down in the comment section. We love getting that kind of stuff as we go through the Fantasy Football Weekly show. I'm David On Point, Israel Rivera. How'd you do in week number 1? How many leagues are you in this year, by the way?
Week number 1. Golly, I'm in 4 leagues. I'm in 4 leagues, and I went 2-2. 2-2. So I split it even down the middle.
I'm in 4 leagues too, and I went 3-1, and I was the number 1 scoring team in the Greatest People in week number 1. 130 points. Let's go.
And you know what? You know what? He had to let everybody know in a group text. He sends a text out to the group chat in Facebook. He sends a text out to everybody individually. Everybody knew this. No.
I only do that for you because I never know if you actually check shit.
Oh. Well, nice to know that you only send me an individual text because I never respond to anything.
There you go.
That is awesome.
I have no idea if he checks this. I'm just going to send him a text. I'm going to send you a Facebook message. I'm going to send you a group chat. He's going to one way or the other.
He just had to let me know that it was me that I got the 130 points, and I get what is it? $5, $10?
$10.
$10. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go. That's a good incentive.
I think it's 20 actually. Now that I think about it,
we're doing that. I'm doing that in another league where it's like every same thing. A top scorer gets like an extra $10 or something like that. It's a good incentive.
Yeah, it just keeps people playing even if their teams are long done. But yeah, let's get into the ranking. Let's start with the quarterbacks. I got my quarterback. I got some crazy stuff going on with my quarterback rankings. I got Joe Burrow, number 1, even after a very disappointing week number 1. Mm-hmm. I'm going Joe Burrow. I think he's going to open that offense up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look for Joe Burrow to have a monster week number 2 and probably be the number 1 scorer in fantasy this week. And then number 2, believe it or not, I got Justin Herbert at number 2. I love what I saw in his offense going up against the Raiders. I don't think that defense is all that good, but I love what I saw in his offense in the Chargers. Those pass catchers, Quentin Johnson sighting, Ladd McConkey continues to be a good weapon there. Justin Herbert, I think, is going to be special this season. And then you got the old reliables. You got Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Not a lot needs to be said about these guys. They're consistent fantasy contributors. You just plug and play them every week and don't worry about it. 6, Kyler Murray. I just like that matchup against the Carolina Panthers. I think he should have a pretty good day at the office. 7, Dak Prescott, another bad defense in the New York Giants. Dak Prescott played pretty good against the Eagles. He just didn't get the win. 8, Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay. That's a pretty favorable matchup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 9, I got Patrick Mahomes, the second. Maybe a little bit lower than the consensus on Patrick Mahomes, but I think that's a tough matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles, and we saw what happened at the Super Bowl. And then number 10, I got Drake May. We saw what Danny Dimes did against this Miami Dolphins defense. I think Drake May is obviously more talented than Danny Dimes. So look for him to have a pretty solid fantasy performance there at number 10. And then my outside looking in, I got Justin Fields, looks to put it together for a second week in a row. Jaden Daniels going up against a really tough Green Bay Packers defense, as he knows all about. And then at 3, I got Trevor Lawrence. Cincinnati Bengals defense still is not good. Look for him to have a good day at the office there. I can't remember if that's in Duval County or in Cincinnati, but either way, Trevor Lawrence should be fine. And then my sneaky and daily, this is on DraftKings. So if you're looking at it, Izzy always does FanDuel, I always give you your DraftKings, give you a little bit of a different perspective as you kind of set up your fantasy lineups. Drake May, 5,200, and Justin Fields at 5,700. I especially like Drake May at 5,200.
That game is in Cincinnati, by the way.
Thank you. It doesn't matter. It'll be fine.
Well, David thinks that Cincinnati's defense isn't very good. I think Cincinnati's defense is actually going to be improved. They had 3 turnovers this first week. We'll get
but that was like those were like wide receivers literally dropping passes thrown right to them and them just ending up in defenders' arms. Like that those are the most wishy-washy bullshit interceptions you'll ever see.
Tip drill. We'll get to defenses later because David's seen my rankings. Anyways, Josh Allen is number 1. Why wouldn't I have Josh Allen at number 1? The guy literally had only 100 passing yards. I think he had like 110, 115 passing yards in the first half. He literally exploded for like 270, 80 yards in the second half.
394 for the entire game.
Yeah, for the entire game. Like 200, almost through 300 in one half. It's like why? And then he didn't even get the legs going too. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't get the running going. Like he didn't
really.
It was like wait,
I mean, I know he did have 2 rushing touchdowns. So let's pump the brakes there a little bit.
Well, we'll pump the brakes. 2 rushing touchdowns was phenomenal if you're a fantasy owner of his. But once he starts racking up those yards on the ground, it's going to be wraps. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. I mean, those 2 guys, man, they should be top 5 all season long, no matter what defense they're playing. And number 3, Joe Burrow. I'm right there with David, man. I think Joe Burrow, that week 1 was an anomaly. I think the second week
let's hope it was an anomaly because a lot of people have faith on this offense being really good. And if they look like this for the entire season, it's going to be a long day for Cincinnati. Like it's going to be a long season for the Bengals.
They will not. I mean, I expect Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to pick it up, and then you got Andre Iosivas as well. Chase Brown is a hell of a receiver out the backfield and a hell of a runner in between the tackles. I think that offense will be very good this year. At number 4, I got Jalen Hurts going up against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl rematch. Jalen Hurts is very efficient this week. Watch out for his rushing ability. He had a touchdown, a couple touchdowns.
I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. Yep, and those are huge when it comes to the quarterback. At number 5, Justin Fields. He sure as hell looked like a top 5 QB last week against Pittsburgh. Veteran defense. Justin Fields looks like a whole. He's it's year 5 for Justin Fields so far.
I think it's 6. I don't know, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But he's progressed, and it looks like he's going to give everything. Aaron Glenn's going to squeeze all the talent out of him this year. I like what I saw out of Justin Fields. At number 6, I got Justin Herbert. I think he's going to have a really special year for Los Angeles. Only reason he's a little lower on my list is, going up against Vegas divisional game. Those tend to be a little bit, kind of stalemate-ish. I don't know. I might just be talking on my butt. He's right down the outside looking at the top 5. At number 7, I got Kyler Murray. At 8, I got Dak Prescott. And people were like, man, Dak Prescott, why? Going against the New York Giants. Sorry, Christian. He's going against the New York Giants. He's a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
I got him at 7, so we're on the same wavelength on that.
We're on the same wavelength, man. At number 9, I got Jordan Love. And then round out the top 10, I got Jaden Daniels as well. I know the Green Bay Packers defense is going to be tough, but Jaden Daniels' running ability, I think he'll have some good opportunities to run kind of get out the pocket and maybe score a couple touchdowns in the red zone, just kind of making plays on the outside. And then I'm outside looking in. I got Patty Mahomes, Drake May, and Michael Penix Jr.
And you're still on that Michael Penix Jr.
Yes. So I'm not going to do the cheer that Desmond Howard did on Kyle's game day. It's kind of out of my element a little bit. Yeah. And then I'm not gonna do that, David. And then FanDuel, I got Brock Purdy. He's a cheap option at 6,800.
Brock Purdy, unexpected to play. I just got breaking news coming out.
Breaking news. So that's why I got 2.
Brock Purdy's unlikely to play in Sunday. He's also potentially going to miss a few weeks.
With the toe injury.
With the toe and the shoulder injury.
Yeah,
but being honest with you, Brock Purdy doesn't need to play against the New Orleans Saints for them to beat them. They need to think about the long game. Rushing him back, I think, would be a terrible decision.
and then Caleb Williams was cheap at $6,900 out of all the quality starting quarterbacks that I saw. Caleb Williams going up against Detroit. Ben Johnson's going to cook up something. And Taylor didn't look bad at all against Minnesota. Actually looked pretty good, in my opinion. And so I think they did good enough to win that game. He did well enough. I think he's going to improve, and it's a new offensive system. I think Ben Johnson's going to squeeze out all the ounce of talent out of him at 6,900. Roll the dice with Caleb and put your points somewhere else, your money somewhere else. Maybe like running back or something.
Definitely agree. Moving on from the pass throwers to the rock toters. Let's go running back.
Running back, yes. Number one is that man child, the king, Derrick Henry. Yes.
The words of the late Dennis Green. We're going to crown him ass and crown him.
Crown his ass, yeah.
We're crowning him.
100. What was it, David? Over 165 yards?
Yards, yeah,
170 yards. Well, he did have 175, and then he had the fumble that he lost 10 yards on the fumble. Derrick Henry was an absolute man-child against the Buffalo Bills. I expect him. I mean, what is his year? What, 10?
10, 11, I don't know.
Something like that. He looks like
Derrick Henry's eternal. Like he's
eternal, dude. It's like if LeBron James was playing in the NFL. It's absolutely insane. And number two, I got Christian McCaffrey. He's actually surprisingly one of the 49ers that's actually pretty healthy. I think he's gonna have a monster game this week against New Orleans. They're gonna lean heavily on him.
If they're gonna be starting Mac Jones, who I think is their backup. I mean, Chris McCaffrey and Brian Robinson, who's probably a really good option in daily, given the news with Brock Purdy and the George Kittle news as well. Like Chris McCaffrey and Brian Robinson Jr. wouldn't surprise me if those guys combined for damn near 50 touches in this game.
Whew. That's going to be insane. And number three, I got Bijan Robinson, who took a 10-yard catch and scored a 50-yard scamper. That's how elusive he is. Bijan Robinson's number three, especially in PPR. And number four, I got Josh Jacobs going up against Washington. I know they have a pretty solid defense, and I know they've improved, but I like Josh Jacobs. I mean, he had 60 yards, a touchdown.
This same Commanders defense last week really shut down Tyron Tracy and like whatever else they were rolling out in New York.
But New York Giants offensive line.
Yeah.
Green Bay Packers
night
and day. So yeah, give me Josh Jacobs. At number five, I got Chase Brown. At number six, I got Saquon Barkley. Only reason Saquon's a little low on my list is because I think they'll key in on him. And Kansas City's gonna play a lot more.
You mean they're gonna try to key up on him like he did in the Super Bowl? Actually, I think.
They're gonna try.
Yeah, I think Saquon Barkley didn't have that good a game in the Super Bowl.
He didn't. He didn't against Kansas City. So let's go. At number seven, Devin Achane. Devin Achane had for most of the part of he was pretty much the only bright spot.
He was literally. He had 60 points in the game. I know his touchdown came in like the meaning of garbage time.
Yes,
but, it still counts all the same in fantasy. But he had 15 points in PPR leagues. He's a monster in PPR leagues.
He's a monster, absolutely.
Even if this Dolphins offense is going to completely go off the rails.
Yes, which I think it is going to go completely off the rails, but that's another story for another day. Breece Lightning Hall at number 8 going up against Buffalo. Yeah, he had over 100 yards against the Steelers, especially watching Derrick Henry, go for 160-plus yards against Buffalo last week. I like Breece Hall this week as a top 10 back. At number 9, Jahmyr Gibbs going against the Bears. I think he got a little bit of redemption in him. Didn't have such a great week one against Green Bay. I think against Chicago, I think they get Jahmyr Gibbs. At the end of the day, I think Jahmyr Gibbs might be a little higher when it comes to points this week. At number 10, I got James Conner. And then on my outside looking in, I got Bucky Irving, Kyron Williams, and Travis Etienne, who looked so good. He looked so good, David, that Jacksonville said, we're trading away Take Bigsby because this is all we need is Travis Etienne. That's how good he looked in week 1 against Carolina.
I was talking about that yesterday. I'm like I gave one of my game balls to Travis Etienne because he kind of got like written off, like how they got been kind of a bust as a first round pick. He hasn't been all that good. And Travis Etienne's like, nah, this is still my job. Like I'm not giving this up for anything. And he just blows up for like over like 100, nearly 170 yards rushing. Like it was nuts.
It's so bad in fantasy, bro. I picked Tank Bigsby as like my running back 3, like flex, like running back 3, running back 4, and like I literally dropped him in all my leagues today because it's like he's going to Philly. He's going to Philly. How many touches
Saquon Barkley and they have Kenneth Gainwell still there, I think.
And they got AJ Dillon.
Yeah,
so as well. Yeah. So like, where is he gonna play? Like he might get cut this season. It's kind of bad I feel bad for Tank Bigsby, and I wasted a decent pick, mid-round pick where I could have got something else for him because I waited in a couple leagues to get running backs, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get Tank Bigsby. He's gonna be the man in Jacksonville this season finally. And
jokes on you.
Jokes on me, exactly.
he wasn't even the man in Jacksonville for 1 week.
1 week, yeah, man. And then my Tiki options and FanDuel are Trey Benson at 4,900, who's the backup to James Conner. He had a pretty good game in the first week as well. And then Nick Chubb at 5,600 if you're looking to put a little bit more money, but kind of have some value there. Still no Joe Mixon. Nick Chubb had 60 plus yards. Give him a touchdown this week.
Man, with Vita Vea still playing for the Tampa Bay, I'm avoiding that Houston backfield this weekend. I don't trust any of those guys.
Yeah.
So, but that's just me. Moving on to my rankings, I got Chase Brown at number 1. Pretty mediocre first opening week of the season. But I think he's going to bounce back in a huge way in week number 1 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chuba Hubbard had a pretty good game against the Jaguars. Look for Chase Brown to have a pretty solid performance. Number 2, Saquon Barkley. I know the Chiefs were kind of able to bottle up Saquon Barkley, but we don't know if that game had been competitive, what his usage would have been like. So Saquon Barkley is number 2. 3, Derrick Henry. Crown him. He's the king for a reason. I think he's going to have a good game against the Cleveland Browns. Probably over 100 yards, a couple touchdowns. Derrick Henry is going to be a must play in all formats. And 4, Jahmyr Gibbs going against my Chicago Bears. I know a lot of people disappointed with his first week performance. They probably used a very high first-round pick in fantasy to get him. Expected more out of him in week number 1. I think he'll get those numbers in week number 2. 5, Bijan Robinson. 6, Christian McCaffrey. Those guys are just all reliable. And I mentioned earlier, I think Chris McCaffrey is going to have an insane amount of touches during this game. And Devon Achane, as we talked about, was the lone bright spot for Miami in their offense. I think they're going to continue to feed Devon Achane. I don't trust any of those other running backs. Bucky Irving also had a rough week 1. I looked for him to get it going in week number 2 against the Houston Texans. Kyron Williams had a decent game against them. 9, Josh Jacobs. 10, James Conner. Another 2 guys that are constantly on these kind of lists. And then my outside looking in, I got Alvin Kamara, who I think the New Orleans Saints is going to feed 1 billion touches to this season. James Cook and Kyron Williams is my 2 and 3. James Cook going up against a fairly good Jets defense that didn't let any of the running backs get really off in Pittsburgh, but none of them are as talented as James Cook. And then I like Kyron Williams going up against the Houston Texans or the Rams. Hold on a second, I gotta look that up in a second. Rams going up against the Titans. And I know the Titans have a sneaky good defense, but I think the workloads will be there for Kyron Williams.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, Jeffrey Simmons for sure. Also, we talked about this a little bit last year. I mean, that Titans defense at one point, in terms of yards allowed per game, was in the top 5. So it's a really solid unit from top to bottom. And then my sneaky and daily, got Javonte Williams, clearly already running back 1 there in Dallas, at least getting most of the goal line touches. And then Dylan Sampson has totally leapfrogged Jerome Ford in this offense. And I don't expect the kid from Ohio State to play, at least not yet. I think he has to. I think there's some kind of language in his contract that he can't play for the first 2 weeks or some nonsense like that. But Dylan Sampson, I think for the Cleveland Browns, if you don't already know, I think that's a guy I'll roll the dice with this week.
Quinshon Judkins can't play.
Yeah,
for a couple weeks. Why?
Just 1. I can't. I don't remember. But
because he had a long season at Ohio State. He played 17 games.
It's something in the language in his contract or something. I don't know. I just know he can't play in this game. I just don't remember. I don't remember what the reason. I'll look it up when I have a few minutes.
Soft.
From the rock toters to the pass catchers, let's talk about them wide receivers. My number one wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. And then I got BTJ at number 2 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just that offense for the defense of Cincinnati is just not a unit I believe in. I think he will have a good game, BTJ. I know he got the rushing touchdown week number 1. I made a bold prediction for him in the preview show, and I thought he could win OPOY. Now, if he continues to play like he did last week, I think they're going to feature him more in the passing game, going up against a pretty suspect passing defense in the Cincinnati Bengals. 3, Justin Jefferson. 4, Jamar Chase, former LSU teammates, back-to-back in my rankings. 5, the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I do expect Jalen Johnson to be on him for majority of the game, but I think he's going to have a bounce-back performance in week number 2. And then Puka Nacua, Nico Collins, who are playing against each other in the most recent week. Puka Nacua is just everywhere for the Rams. He's like their most important player. Nico Collins looking to bounce back from week 1. A.J. Brown definitely looking to bounce back from week number 1, going against the Kansas City Chiefs. He had a pretty good game in the Super Bowl, at least had a touchdown. 9, Drake London, Cortland Sutton. Look for them to get to the end zone in their respective games for the Atlanta Falcons and the Denver Broncos, respectively. And then my outside looking in, I got Mike Evans, Ladd McConkey, and then Zay Flowers, who had a massive game for the Baltimore Ravens. Could be just a little bit of a taste of what's to come for Zay Flowers, as he could be a legitimate wide receiver 1 this season. And if you drafted him to be your wide receiver 1, you're sitting pretty right now with Zay Flowers as your guy. And then my sneaking daily, one of them the same as yours, Keon Coleman. It's clearly wide receiver 1 in an offense that's going to pass the football fairly regularly. 5,100 for Keon Coleman, and then 4,300 for Cedric Tillman. Had a touchdown in that game against the Cincinnati Bengals for the Cleveland Browns. He's kind of been running back wide receiver 1 when Joe Flacco's there. So Cedric Tillman's something I'm rolling the dice with at 4,300 in DraftKings.
Yeah, I think Keon Coleman, he's one of my sneaky in daily fantasy for FanDuel as well. I think he's we talked about him on Monday. Like he's one of those guys that he's big, he's strong. He may not be the fastest wide receiver, but he's a big, strong, athletic guy. Played basketball. People forget he played basketball. He was on a D1 scholarship at Michigan State at one point because he was so good as a two-way athlete. He was like a 4-star basketball player as well. So he's super athletic, and if he gets like a smaller cornerback on him, it's lights out. And his route running skills have improved as well. So I don't expect him to be this low on FanDuel or DraftKings for too long. I think once people start catching on, his value will go way up there for those betting sites. Anyways, number 1, I have Justin Jefferson. Yes, I do believe Justin Jefferson. I'm not sure. He wasn't, the greatest against the Bears. I don't think that offense wasn't the greatest, period, against the Bears. But against Atlanta, I think it could be a high-scoring game. I think get J.J. McCarthy, some leeway a little bit, kind of first-year starter coming off an injury last year. I think, let him get in the groove of things. I think him and Justin Jefferson have a great rapport before the season's over with. But definitely, I think this week, too, he has a good matchup against the Falcons. And then number 2, I got Puka Nacua. You're right, man. Puka Nacua is all over the field. He was one of the best wide receivers last week. His volume is just incredible. I mean, his volume is so high that he's such a big wide receiver. You put him in the slot, you put him outside, you put him anywhere. Put him on jet passes, jet sweeps, and all types of stuff. It's his value is so high that we had to trade Cooper Kupp, because there was nothing, you had to get a different type of wide receiver there because they both did the same thing. And Puka Nacua just did it better. And number 3, Malik, can you be my neighbor? Neighbors is at number 3 for me. Yes. I like him against Dallas. I don't care if he's way too high. Russell Wilson's gonna just get him his shit. Russell Wilson is gonna get him that damn rock. Hey, you know what? Hey, and if he's watched, we talked about this Monday. You might see Jackson Dart. And with a new quarterback, they gravitate towards number 1 wide receivers. I could see Jackson Dart getting in this game at some point, and Malik Neighbors getting a bunch of targets this week. And number 4, CeeDee Lamb. He had a decent game, except the drops in the end of the game. But CeeDee Lamb was a pretty formidable wide receiver in fantasy. At number 5, Jamar Chase. Yes, he'll be back top 5. He'll be back in the top 3 pretty soon once that Bengals offense starts humming. At number 6, Brian Thomas Jr. Man, back-to-back LSU wide receivers. They just, you got 3 LSU wide receivers in the top 6 here. Well, actually 4. You got 4 LSU wide receivers in the top 6 here. Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas. Something's in the air in LSU. That's LA, and them in Ohio State are fighting for who's the best wide receiver college university here. At number 7, I got Lab McConkey. He's just super reliable. I mean, when you think that Lab McConkey's not having a game, you look up and he's got 8 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown.
I think that's one of the things that really sustains his value, right? Like his PPR status is just insane. Like he just gets all of those catches. Like he's very similar like to Wes Welker back in the day.
Yes. He's like Wes Welker, exactly.
Only he's like
more bigger.
He's more athletic and bigger than Wes Welker ever was.
Yeah. And the thing about Lab McConkey, man.
I mean, we're probably only making that comparison because you know why.
Because he's white. Yeah. But no, check it out though. No. But he does. No, he does. Wes Welker was shorter. But I would say this about Lab McConkey. Lab McConkey, for all you kids out there that are walk-ons that don't have the scholarship, man, Lab McConkey was a walk-on at Georgia, and now he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. So hard work pays off. At number 8, I got Garrett Wilson. You think that's right for Garrett Wilson. Going up against Buffalo, I think there's some opportunities there to throw that football. At number 9, I got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who had an excellent game in week 1. He's one of the top fantasy wide receivers, last week. And then going up against Pittsburgh, that's the only reason because he's going to get Jalen Ramsey. And then I'm out. And then rounding out my top 10 is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Maserati
Marv on the top 10. And then I'm outside looking in. I got Nico Collins, Mike Evans, the best wide receiver of this generation, David. Mike Evans. Me and David had a little spit. No. We just were talking. David thinks DeAndre Hopkins is the best wide receiver of this generation, and I think Mike Evans
just of his generation.
Of his generation. Yeah, I think Mike Evans is the better of the two.
I'll give me D-Hop. Mike Evans was never considered the number 1 wide receiver at any point during his reign.
How many 1,000-yard wide receiver games he's had?
DeAndre Hopkins was consistently considered the best wide receiver in football for a decade. He's the number 1 wide receiver of this generation. Sorry, go ahead, continue, please.
All right, DK Metcalf is on my outside looking in, going up against his old team this week in Seattle. And then for my cheap option in FanDuel, I got Keon Coleman at 5,300. I just talked about him, and Troy Franklin at 4,900 from the Denver Broncos. I think he is going to, him and Bo Nix were like best friends, I think, back at Oregon. So
they have roommates in college.
Roommates in college, yeah. So
moving on from the wide receivers to the little bit bulkier pass catchers, we got them tight ends. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, yes. So at tight end, I got Brock Bowers, the best tight end. And I like what I saw out of all the tight ends this week. But Brock Bowers is the cream of the crop. He's the best tight end in all of pro football, of all of football in the whole world. Brock Bowers is the guy. And it's for the Raiders. All right. And then
man.
All right. Number 2 is Trey McBride. And then at number 3, another rookie from the Big Ten. We know Big Ten tight end U, baby. Tyler Warren, freshman rookie out of Penn State for Indianapolis. He had an excellent game for Indianapolis. Danny Dimes, that was like his favorite target down there. Number 4, I got Sam Laporta. At number 5, Tucker Kraft. I think he's got top 5 written all over him all season. And number 6, TJ Hawkinson. 7, Mark Andrews. Number 8, Travis Kelce. It has been that time of his career, David, where he is Friends top 10 tight end. He's no longer at the top. He's got a beautiful fiance now that's worth $2 billion. And he doesn't care about football anymore. Well, I think he cares, but I think he has other things that he wants to do now. And I don't blame Travis Kelce because when you have a beautiful wife like that, with all that money.
Travis Kelce has accomplished everything he was going to accomplish.
Exactly.
He's got 3 Super Bowl rings. He's got he's arguably the greatest tight end of all time. Like, there isn't much left for him to really prove.
Exactly. And then
that Harold Fannin ranking is wild.
No, it's actually not. Dude, Harold Fannin had a great game.
I know, but
Browns. He was the better of the 2 tight ends.
Literally nobody heard of him up until 3:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. I'm gonna meet your top 10.
Well, he was better. He was better than David Njoku. I'll tell you that.
Okay,
was he
sure.
or was he not?
Yeah, of course.
He technically was. Look at the stats. And then number 10, I got Jawan Johnson, who was. That's why I said I like what I saw out of the tight ends, man. You got Jawan Johnson, Harold Fannin was looking good. I mean, you got my guy who's my FanDuel guy next. Tong was pretty good. And I'm outside looking, and I got Kyle Pitts, who everybody always writes out every year. And then you got 7 catches down, 7 targets for the Falcons. Dallas Goedert, and then Jake Ferguson. And I'm sorry, David. I am so sorry. But Bobby Schultz's cousin, whatever. Schultz. Yes. He's not on your list. He's not on my list, but he's not getting love this week. So sorry.
Bobby Schultz's cousin, Dalton Schultz, isn't getting any
love.
Dalton
Schultz is not getting any love. He's not getting any love. And then my sneaky option at FanDuel, before I got to take this call, is Jake Tongs at 4,200. George Kittle, I think, is out in this game. Jake
Tongs
on the
IR, so he's gonna be out for a while.
For a while. Jake Tongs caught a touchdown in the last game. Give me Jake Tongs in this game. I got to take this call.
Okay. Swinging back over into my tight ends. I got Trey McBride at number 1 for the Arizona Cardinals. He's just a model of consistency for Trey McBride. 2, Tyler Warren. Yeah, I'm so in on Tyler Warren for this season. I think he's just going to be a target magnet in that offense for the Indianapolis Colts. And then Brock Bowers. He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And there isn't really anybody in Las Vegas, to really compete for him for touches. 4, Tucker Kraft. Yeah, I'm a little bit higher on Tucker Kraft than Izzy is. I like the Green Bay Packers, what I saw of their offense, especially out of Tucker Kraft. 5, TJ Hawkinson for the Minnesota Vikings. 6, Sam Laporta for the Detroit Lions. And then 7, Mark Andrews. I know he had a really disappointing game against the Buffalo Bills, but you got to believe that the talent is still there. I don't expect Isaiah Likely to play. So I think Mark Andrews is probably a good guy to roll the dice on. Dalton Kincaid had a touchdown for the Buffalo Bills and had a pretty good game as a whole for Buffalo. At that tight end position. Number 9, Travis Kelce. A little bit lower on Travis Kelce even than Izzy is. But, I think his NFL time is totally running out here. I put Mark Andrews on here twice. So let me put somebody else at number – just give me just a second here.
I gotta get the horns going.
I actually put Mark Andrews at number. I'm going to replace Mark Andrews on my rankings with Kyle Pitts Jr. I think he had a solid Pitts Sr. Kyle Pitts Jr. is going to roll out. I don't even know how old Kyle Pitts Jr. is. But 12.5 points for Kyle Pitts. And then my outside looking in, I got Zach Ertz, Jonnu Smith, who had a screenplay rushing touchdown for them, and then David Njoku, I guess the other Cleveland Browns tight end, for the. That's just wild. Then Zach Ertz had a touchdown for the Commanders. Then my sneaky and daily is Noah Fant. New place, catches a touchdown in week number 1 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Appears to be tight end 1, even over Mike. Give him the gritty Gesicki. So give me Noah Fant.
Give him the gritty Gesicki. I like that. That's awesome. That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And then moving on from there, we're going to swing into the other side of the ball. We got them defensive rankings. I'm going to start with my defense. I think you have the Cardinals way too high, by the way. But Denver at number 1.
I don't think so.
I got the Denver Broncos at number 1, going up against a pretty lackluster offense. Again, in the Indianapolis Colts, I don't expect Danny Dimes it up 2 weeks in a row. So start the Broncos with confidence if you got them. 2, the Los Angeles Rams. I think that's a good matchup for the Los Angeles Rams going up against the Tennessee Titans, especially given that pass rush that they can generate with their front 7 without having to blitz.
On a rookie quarterback that holds the ball too long.
Cam Ward might have a tough day at the office.
Yeah, Cam Ward's going to learn how to get rid of that ball.
And then nobody knows Joe Flacco better than the Baltimore Ravens. So I got Ravens at 3, the Arizona Cardinals at 4. Yeah, they're going up against the Carolina Panthers, who showed me nothing in their offense. It makes me think that they can really get going this season. And they're probably going to be a long season for the Arizona Cardinals. And then I got the Minnesota Vikings at number 5, going up against the Atlanta Falcons. We see what this Vikings defense can do. They can just generate turnovers, and they just generate just excellent football play and just generate sacks.
Well, this is the thing, though. If they only blitz like one time in the first half, I think in the second half they blitz like every other play or something like that against Caleb Williams. I don't know if that's necessarily going to work against Michael Penix Jr., who I think might be a better thrower of the football.
Well, we'll see. And then the Buccaneers at number on my outside looking, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Buffalo Bills, and then the New England Patriots going against Miami, who look absolutely lost on offense right now. And then they're my sneaky and daily pick too at 2,800 for the New England Patriots. That's all I got for you when it comes to defensive rankings for this upcoming week.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, my rankings, David said I'm a little too high. My number 1 defense this week is the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, because they are going against probably going to be one of the worst offenses in football, and the Carolina Panthers. They're definitely tanking for a quarterback. I don't think Bryce Young's the answer. They don't think Bryce Young's the answer, but they're going to roll them out anyways every week. They put a lot of weapons around them, but I don't see it happening. Arizona's going to turn them over. They're going to have a great day at the office against the Carolina Panthers. Number 2, I got the Los Angeles Rams. I think that's a great matchup against Tennessee this week, going up against Cam Ward. Like I said, Cam Ward, tends to, if you watch college football, Cam Ward holds the ball a little way too long trying to improvise in the NFL against a great front seven like that. You got guys coming at you on that front seven. It's going to be a long day at the office for Tennessee. And then at number 3, I got the San Francisco 49ers going up against New Orleans. Yeah, that's the same thing. New Orleans, I mean, if they're gonna drop back almost 50 times and pass the ball, I mean every play, godly, Nick Bosa is gonna rear his ears back, and we're gonna pass rush all day and make Spencer Rattler just have hella fits this week. So I like the 49ers. And at number 4, I got the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Cleveland Browns. And then at number 5, I got the Cowboys going up against the Giants. Yeah, like David was saying, not Dak Prescott, but Russell Wilson is kind of it's been over the hill. He's washed. And I think the Cowboys are going to, have, just 2 years ago, guys, this was the best defense in terms of turnover point differential. In 2 years ago, this defense. Now I know, but no Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons
no Lawrence.
DeMarcus
Lawrence is not walking through the door. But I still think that against this team,
Stephon Gilmore is not walking through that door.
That's true. That is true, David. You got some great points. David humbles me sometimes when I get on these little rants. Anyways, but yes, Dallas Cowboys. I like them as a top 5 defense. And then I'm outside looking in. I got the Los Angeles Chargers, the Cincinnati Bengals, baby. I like the Cincinnati Bengals defense. David may not be high on
that game is going to be a shootout. I guarantee it.
I like the Cincinnati Bengals this week. Okay, going up against Jacksonville. I think they'll turn Jacksonville over, and I think Jacksonville is going to have a rough day in Cincinnati, son. They ain't in Duval. They in Cincinnati this week. And then I got Denver on the outside looking in. They're not. You know what, David? You're too high on Denver because you want to know something. You're too. I know. Yeah. Understandable.
And they have the best corner in the NFL. They have
Patrick Surtain.
PS2. Yeah, they have, and they're going to get after the quarterback. They led the NFL in sacks last season.
Danny Dimes,
and they had 1 billion sacks last year.
Look, listen. We talked about this on Monday with Christian and TJ. Danny Dimes looks very comfortable. You want to know why? Because he doesn't have those expectations of playing in New York, right? You got you got your running back in Jonathan Taylor right behind you. You got your new weapon in Tyler Warren, who you can line up all over the field. Michael Pittman Jr. looks great this season so far. I like their defense. as well, even though it's not going to play a factor, but it will play a factor as a way because I think they'll get the offense out off the field a lot and that defense to be on the field a lot trying to stop Indianapolis. And it's in Indy. I like Indianapolis to give the Broncos so fit. So that's why they're not number one. But I do see them getting some sacks, maybe a turnover. One, Danny Dimes will give you one. And then my sneaky option in FanDuel, I got the Cardinals at 3,900 and the Bengals at 4,100 here.
That Broncos take is wild. Danny Dimes is not going to repeat his performance from week number 1. Like, he's just not. He's going to throw 3 picks in this game. He's going to have 4+ turnovers alone by himself. They're going to give up 8 sacks in this game. That's a
4 turnovers. Holy shit!
Yeah, one of them might even be a pick 6. This is they just got lucky that it went up against a woeful Miami Dolphins team, and this is going to be a reality. Like, hey, you're not good. The Peyton Manning Bowl is going to end a disaster for the Indianapolis Colts. Let me tell you.
We shall see. We shall see.
But yeah, that's been our week 2 fantasy football rankings. And before we get up out of here, like we do every single week here on Fantasy Football Weekly, do you know who the number 1 scorer in fantasy last week was?
I want to say it was Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is the correct response with 38.76 points. He had 394 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 30 yards rushing, along with 2 touchdowns on the ground. Can you name the top 5 guys?
Josh Allen's number 1, and not because I'm looking. I mean, I'm kind of looking a little bit at quarterbacks, but Josh. I mean, I'm not looking. I mean, I look. I know Josh Allen.
Breaking the rules.
Okay. Josh Allen, number 1. Lamar Jackson, number 2.
Lamar Jackson is number 4. With 29.36 fantasy.
Derrick Henry.
5. 169 yards. Nice. And 2 touchdowns for Derrick
Aaron
Henry.
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is outside the top 5. He finished at
Justin
number
Fields.
9. Justin Fields is number 2.
Yes.
With 2 rushing touchdowns, 218 yards, and a tutty.
Number three. Who's number 3?
We talked about him way too much on this show.
Okay, you got me. You got me beat. Who is it?
Come on, who do we talk about? Literally just talk about just a minute ago.
Oh, Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes. Dan Jones was number 3 with 29.48
I didn't expect
points.
that.
272 yards and a touchdown and 26 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. So I ask you this question. Who will be the number 1 scorer in fantasy when week number 2 is all said and done?
Ooh, number 1 fantasy getter is going to be I'm going to go. Let me get Jamar Chase.
And I'm going to go his teammate. I'm going to go Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I think that offense gets right against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Paul Brown Stadium. So, yeah, that's my prediction right there. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Hopefully that all pans out. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us here at Prime Sports World. If you have any questions about anything fantasy related, drop it down in the comment section. Also, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm David On Point Humpin. Right there is Izzy Rivera. And Izzy, what do we do at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
Where's the pen?
Bringing the heat.
Where's
baby.
the pen?
I don't have a pen. Here, give me the pencil, kid. There we go. Pencil. Now you gotta go get the pencil.
We will see you guys. Izzy will see you guys on Friday with College Football Showdown. I will see you guys next week. Good luck to everybody on fantasy this week. Hopefully you can bring home a W, and hopefully you're the number 1 scorer in your league. So we'll be back. Y'all have a good day. Take it safe. Peace out.
Deuces. See you guys Friday.